don't think there's a single person in sports today that can claim they have dominated their events the way that Grant Holloway has dominated the 60. He is on another level. He is competing against the clock. He's not going against competition anymore.
It was like Noah is getting to a point now where he's getting unbeatable in short sprints. Like, do you remember the conversations like maybe 3 years ago that Noah Lyles is a 200 runner? He can't run 100. He can't run a 60. I think the most money and success for Matthew Boling in this sport will be in the 400.
Welcome back. Another episode, Track World News Podcast. My name's Con Waits. I'm your host here with our esteemed co-host, Mr. Noah Williams. Noah, how you doing today, brother?
What's going on, brother? Blessed and highly favored as always, man. I can't complain. We shoot a little later today than we typically would, but we had a great weekend of track and field. I'm excited to dive into it. We got a lot of good content for you guys, man. How you feeling over there, brother?
I'm doing good. It was had a lot of traveling this past weekend. Was out at New Balance Grand Prix. Beautiful track, beautiful facility. I know you've been there once or twice. Was it last year or was it 2 years ago that you won?
23, so 2 years ago.
23, okay, 23, yeah. So we missed you out there on the track for sure, but it was still a good vibe. A lot of fun. Every time I've been out in Boston, every single time. I think I've been to Boston 7 times in my life now. It snowed every single, like I've never not seen snow in Boston. It's just, that place is just always cold, and I don't know why people like live in that city. It seems like an awful existence to always be snowing.
I feel it, bro. No smut to the Bostonians, bro, but it is freezing there. It's a beautiful city. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful city, bro. But like when we were there in 23, that was the weekend. It was like negative 16 degrees, bro. It was just nasty. So hey, you made it through. You made it through. You weathered the storm while you were
there. Yeah, just barely. It was that was a cold one, but still we made it through. We made it through. So awesome. Lot of track and field stuff. I feel like this is the first big kind of like weekend that we've got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things to break down, and I guess we can start from just with the New Balance Grand Prix. I guess so there was a lot of different races, a lot of things that were going on, and from your perspective. So obviously I was there, and we can I can I'll talk about my kind of experience, but how was it from where you were kind of seeing from the outside in of it all?
It seemed like a pretty hyped up meet. Looking at the stands, I think that's usually like one of the first things that I look at is the stands, and how does the crowd look? Does the crowd look invested? Does the crowd look full? And it definitely did. So on that perspective, on that side of things, it was really fire. We had some really good performances. I think the stars of the show kind of carried with the Noahs and the Grant Holloways of the world. And yeah, I think even on a social media aspect, I think the New Balance Grand Prix page did a really good job with World Athletics to like post constant updates, constant race videos, constant hype around the meet, just to kind of let people know how it is a pretty big deal for the indoor season. So all in all, as a spectator this time around, it was pretty dope. Now I was itching my palms a little bit. I was getting a little frisky watching the men's 400, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, no, it's they really made it a great event. There's not many indoor meets. I would say, I mean, Millrose I think is the premier indoor meet outside of championships, and then I'd say really it's like New Balance Grand Prix. Like, outdoors, you have a couple, Diamond Leagues that are big and a couple other big notable names, but they really made it like this is the premier event to be in. Like if you're running an indoor meet, you might as well be making sure that you're coming out to Boston, and you can feel that as a fan. Like it's sold out. It's a packed out stadium. Like that's one thing where I kind of I hate that indoor track doesn't get as much love and respect and everything, because the environment, in my opinion, and I'd love to hear from an athlete's perspective for you, the environment at an indoor track is so much more exciting than just a standard outdoor meet. Because, like, you know, if you, unless you're at the Olympic final or USA final, unless you're in one of those like races, and even then maybe not so much, like it just seems so much more live and exciting. I mean, you've been on that side of things, racing at literally this meet and some other high level ones. Like, do you feel that difference as an athlete?
I do, and I honestly thought I was in like the minority by saying that atmosphere on an indoor track, low key, is better than the atmosphere on an outdoor track because the sound actually like carries and it radiates throughout the stadium. Obviously, these stadiums aren't that big. It's mostly 200-meter bank tracks, so you'll probably have one side of bleachers. But when you look up as an athlete and you see every seat is filled and people are like genuinely excited, and then post race, say you win, and you look again and you can hear that roar for you. So it's second to none. Now, obviously, I haven't gotten a victory at an Olympic final or a victory at a USA final, but I've been in USA finals, multiple USA finals, and it just doesn't feel quite the same. Obviously, because it's an outdoor stadium, so the sound won't travel the same. But yeah, that facility, Boston specifically, is like a special place. I think they have a lot of space for fans compared to other indoor facilities, and they just really show out. Those people love track, so that place is special for sure.
Oh yeah, no, it's I love, and just like the city, kind of the town around it. It's like it's all like, if you've never been there, it's literally just like track and field and New Balance related stuff. It is like it's got its own city. Imagine if you took Tracktown USA and made it on the East Coast and put it in Boston, like that's what it's like. So for any running enthusiasts, like it's got that feel that you're looking for. So like there's a bar literally right underneath the track called Broken Records. So it's really cool. So gotta go if you haven't. It's definitely a bucket list item. So
I didn't know about this Broken Records place.
oh, you didn't?
Have you indulged in Broken Records?
Oh yeah, I've gone to Broken Records a couple times. I was there. I got there to the meet a little bit early. Because actually I got there at like 1 o'clock, because I wanted to, I knew Beyond the Records was filming their like pre-show on Saturday, and I was like, I wonder if it's a like I can go and watch it in person as well. I was like, I don't know, I'll see if I can. I can, like, my hotel was walking distance because I'd love to be able to see it. It wasn't, unfortunately, but so I was like, all right, I'm at the track. I've got another 2 hours to kill. What am I gonna do? I'm like, I'm just gonna go to Broken Records and just like watch it on like my phone, and have a good time. So we did that, and then we got into some track and field stuff. So it's a nice place, man. It's a good facility.
For sure.
Cool. Awesome. So now that's enough outside of the New Balance Grand Prix. Overall, if I guess we'll ask you, from 1 to 10, 1 being this might have been the worst indoor like track and field meet of all time, 10 being this was the greatest indoor track and field meet of all time, or that we could have. Where would you put this the New Balance Grand Prix from 1 to 10 for you?
Yeah, I mean, being let's call it a regular season meet, I think I would say probably all things considered, I'll probably put it somewhere like 7.5 to 8. There's no such thing as a 10 out of 10 if I'm not competing, So I'll give it like a 7.5 to 8, somewhere like in there. It's very, very good meet.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I'd say probably somewhere around there as well. Like I think you had mentioned a little bit earlier, like the stars really honed in. I think I have to go back and check, but I think every single person that was an Olympic champion at that was at the competition, or at New Balance, won today, because Rai won, Grant won, Noah won, Julian Alfred won. So I think everyone that was like
Yeah.
a single, like a solo person that won their competition. So it was and Masai won too. So yeah, like every single person that that was the favorites coming into it, ended up bringing home a victory. So yeah, I'd probably say somewhere around there. It was the energy was definitely live there. So 100%. So let's get into a couple of the performances. I mean, we'll start with the 400 with you. So Quincy Wilson gets what I don't know if you call this an upset anymore. I guess maybe it is an upset, maybe it's not. I guess like on paper it technically is when you look at their PRs and everything. But Quincy Wilson winning, dropping the high school national record in the 400 with a time of 45:66, beating a pretty extensive list with some pretty impressive names there. That was jump running. What were your thoughts with that performance from Quincy in the 4?
Yeah, it was special, man. I think the way that he ran it, you could say it was an upset, or you could say it was an underdog type of victory. I can't say I've ever seen anyone win a 400-meter race the way he won. If you guys didn't watch the race, there's plenty of videos out, but with about 160 meters to go, Quincy moved out to what appeared to be lane 3 and continued rolling and out kicking the 4th place finisher at the Olympics in the 400 in Jareem Richards, who is an indoor world champion, tons of experience. So that's not necessarily the way that you coach someone to run a 400 on an indoor track, but 45:66, man, you can't really, you can't argue with that. And he got the victory against some seasoned veterans there. So it's been a special year for him, kind of coming off of what he did last year, just putting an extra exclamation point on him. And we spoke on him maybe a couple weeks ago about like the volume of races that he's doing. But as of right now, I mean, February 3rd, there's no check engine light. There's no real cause for concern right now because he looks really, really good.
Yeah, that was it was an impressive like race for him. He was in lane 6. I mean, would you say is that outside lane like the one of the better ones like for an indoor track? I think like cuz you want to have a larger curve. Would you say that lane 6 is a good one, the best one to be in for a 4?
I think for the 400, I believe that lane 6 is the best for an indoor 400. And when I won this in 2023, I actually was in lane 6, so I kind of know how the lay of the land of that track. But you can do a lot from lane 6 in the 400 meters indoors, just because you have obviously, like you said, a wider turn, but you have more anticipation. We all kind of speak about getting to the break first, but when you're out and you can't see anybody, it's almost like an added pressure to really get out and get to that break. So I think I would probably say 6. I would probably say 6.54 if I had to, say my preference. But yeah, it's a good lane for sure.
Yeah, now he was looking good, and the pop of the crowd, like when he got announced, like bro, the people love. Obviously now Quincy, he's NIL with New Balance, but the people love this kid. Like they were going nuts every time they announced him, and as he was kind of taking on the race. But yeah, he looked good. I mean, it was because, like you said, he was not in first place for a little while, and he was back in like 3rd for a little bit. And you've got Dream there, who's leading the charge, 4th place finisher, coming off of his best statistical season of his entire career. Like we literally talked about it a couple weeks ago, and you have this one high school kid that comes out of nowhere and is like, you know what, I'm gonna just like bump all the conventions of track and field, bump everything that about, oh, you have to run it this way, you have to do it this way, you have to be this, like I'm doing my own thing. I'm swinging out in lane 3, with the largest arm pump you've ever seen, and just going like sheer will, take that win. I mean, big time for him. I mean, it was an impressive W for the kid. So, and I think he's performing this next weekend at Milrose against Jaden Horton Mims. who we did a video on last week. I'm pretty sure him, and then he's racing Jake. I always forget his last name. Guy from Archbishop Carroll who ran in the 300 against like Matt Boling and all them. I'm pretty sure he's racing against like all those cats. So he's like you said, this check engine light just don't seem like it comes on for this kid. He just keeps rolling.
Yeah, just keep going, man. So I think that was my favorite event from the weekend for sure.
Yeah, no, that was tough. That was a good one. And so, I mean, with this like, is this putting? Hey, he's in that contention now of like, yo, you got to really watch out to be making one of these teams individually. I mean, obviously he made the final, and what was it? Did he come in fifth place or
fifth or sixth?
Fifth or sixth, something like that. So he's made the Olympic team, but not an individual team. And I think that's a whole nother level. Like you're no longer a 45, like you gotta be really dialed in to get to that top 3 level. Do you think he's in that contention right now of like, he's a favorite, just an outside looking in, or, it's, one of the lists of the many names that has a chance of being able to be there?
I'm not gonna look too forward. I'm not gonna look to the outdoor season, but I'm gonna answer that on the indoor side of things because it seems like he's kind of shaping his season to go to USA's indoors. And we all know the field isn't as deep on an indoors because a lot of the top guys, the Normans of the world, don't typically compete indoors. So I think this will be a really good opportunity for him to make the team indoors. I know he'll have Elijah Godwin and a few other athletes, but the college guys typically don't go to that beat. And even if they do, they can't represent Team USA at Worlds 9 times out of 10. So I think he can finish top 2 in this indoor championships and make the team and run in, I believe is it China at the Indoor World Championships?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so I think he has a legitimate shot. I would say him and Elijah Godwin are my favorites to make this Team USA for the 400 indoors.
Nice. I'm wondering, so for your year, because you in 23, was that for your?
That would have been 22. So 23, I don't think there was an indoor world. There might have been.
Okay.
I don't think there was though, but 22, yeah.
I know. So on that relay, it was what, you and Trevor. Who else weren't you on a 4x4?
It wasn't Trevor, actually. It was a throw together team, dude. It was like me, Donovan Brazier, Isaiah, blanking on his last name, 800 guy who went to
Isaiah Harris,
and I probably should remember my relay teammates' names. But Trevor didn't run it because he was worried about winning the open 4. So I think he got second. But yeah, that relay team was a mess, bro.
Yeah, I remember watching that one. And so yeah, he can. It'd be interesting to see if he decides like, hey, he's gonna do that instead. I can't remember the timing of like New Balance Nationals. Like I'm sure that New Balance is going to want to make sure that he's competing at that meet, and then I'm sure that might be around the time of USA's, maybe not. So I'll be interested to see what his kind of schedule is. Is he going to do more of that pro schedule, which it seems like he might be, and then what's it going to look like next year? Like, is he just could he be turning pro after a junior year of high school? Like that would be really crazy. But so I think, yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he goes, but talented young man. So really, really impressive. Really impressive. Awesome. Then some other great performances that we had out there. I guess we might just go down in the meters just by 100. So we had Julian Alfred, who ended up winning her 300 meters, and then after the race talked with T Williams of Real Talk, shout out, who asked her a little bit about what she could do and saying, hey, you might see me in a couple 400s. You might see me in a couple 4s. Now, we know that she can run the 400. She's done 4x4s when she was at Texas. But so she wins the 300, and she did it in, what was the the time that she ran it
36.
in? Yeah, 36. Yeah, 36:16. So
16.
she ran. Yeah, so she wins it 36:16, winning the 300. Do you want to see her in any 400s this year, or stick in the 100 200 range?
I don't care to see her in the 4. I mean, if you want to just flex on the world and show everybody how talented you are, I mean, hey, by all means, go ahead or run at Texas Relays or do something like that. But there's no need to see Julian in a 4. I think she still trains with Flo, and I know Flo typically likes his girls to run a couple 4x4, so I wouldn't be mad to see it, but we don't. Girl, you are the best 100-meter runner in the world. I think we want to see you do that. So, yeah, I wouldn't be mad at it, though.
Yeah. No, she looked good. I know Flo was at the meet. I saw him walking around the track there. So he was coming on over for that meet. But yeah, she looked strong. Like probably she's the most she looks the most powerful woman sprinter that I've seen. Like the amount of power she puts into the track. I'm like, man, my shins are hurting just hearing you just like pound the track like this. Like it's incredible. She's just like so strong. It was really good. It was nice to see, and she was holding on. I could tell towards that tail end of the 300 started to looked like it was getting a little bit tough there, but fought it through. And so I know she's not going to be doing Worlds indoors, so no 60. She said she's focusing in on Worlds outdoors, but I think a really good tune-up for her, to potentially be taken down, the likes of Gabby or Sharika, I'm sure Abby and Mackenzie Long will be in those races as well. So we'll have to see how she does for outdoors.
Yeah, you spoke on it, bro, like about the power that she produces into the ground, and I think it's kind of hard to tell watching through TV, but when you're in person watching Julian Alfred compete, bro, it's truly like special. Like it's something to watch. The amount of distance that she covers with one stride is special. Even the sound that she makes on the track is special. I remember like my very first time seeing her at Texas, and I was like, dude, that's different than the rest of the other women. So yeah, good point with that though, Colin.
Yeah, no, she's incredibly strong. It's crazy. It's so crazy. So then I guess let's keep it rolling, going down to the next one, probably the premier event that we saw here with the men's 60.
Wait.
Oh,
We got the men's 300 though.
okay, sorry. Here, you take it. You take it then. You take it then.
Man,
Here,
we had
I'm
the
sure you
men's
missed it up.
300. This was a bit of a surprise to me. That's kind of why I wanted to address it.
Yeah.
We had Rai Benjamin finishing first, Vernon Norwood second, Matthew Boling after him. It's dope to watch Vernon and Rai compete. They're both veterans and done special things in the sport, and I think we all kind of can observe their friendship from the outside, right? Like those two are obviously cool with each other, but to watch them go into the field like that and compete was dope. Rai doesn't run too many indoor races, so it's always good to see him on the track during the indoor season. And I said it was a surprise because going into the meet, I picked Matthew Boling to win. I thought Matt Boling would have won because I was like, he's got the most foot speed. He's been training as a 4 guy, and it just didn't go my way. But yeah, it was a great race by the guys, though.
Yeah. Now they were looking good. I mean, Norwood, obviously like veteran OG in the game right now. Dude's consummate professional. Rai looked strong. I mean, I know it wasn't as quite as fast as it sounded like they wanted to go. Like I know he was talking about like in their pre-show podcast of going like breaking the American record and everything, which I think Noah holds the 300 record. So I guess it's the world record technically. So I know they were trying to do that. Didn't quite get there, but still a solid race. So I mean, you mentioned Boling, and so I'm so interested to see what he's going to be doing because he's in this like the land. He's right in the middle of everything right now, and of all racers in the track, he's definitely one of my favorite people that I like to watch, and I've been just so invested in his career since he was in high school. And I don't know like where he would go right now because it's like you're stuck right in the middle, I feel, where it's, do you try to drop down to the 1 and the 2 and see if you're able to, get the speed there where he hasn't quite been able to match? Do you try to go up to the 400 and try to go up against a lot of those other big dogs that's in there? Or I'd be interested, like, do you go back into that long jump like phase thing? Like, I know he had qualified, like, he hit the world standard, I think it was back in 2021, and the only event he hit the world standard in at that point, if I remember correctly, was the long jump. And I think the reason he didn't go to the Olympics or the World Championships that year was because he didn't make the final in USA's. There's only 3 people that hit it. I think it was Dendy, Harrison, and Boling, but even he didn't make the final, so they didn't take him because I think Rashawn Gray won it that year, but he didn't. Yeah, Ray Vaughn, but he didn't have the standard, so they took Javon instead because he did have the standard. And so if he had gotten the standard, he probably would have gone. Or if he had made the final, he probably would have gone. So I'm interested, like, where he goes from here. What do you think? Like, if you were his coach right now and trying to determine, like, hey, this is where we would go and where we should put our focus, what are your thoughts on it?
I think the most money and success for Matthew Boling in this sport will be in the 400. He has more top end than basically the entire field when it comes to American 400 meter runners. I think the knock on him for the most of his collegiate career was, like, usually in a close race, he gets super tight. So that's obviously doesn't coincide with running successfully over 400 meters. We'll have to work on that. But I think the way that the field is it's deep, but it's not super elite. Like, the 200 meter field is absurd right now in America. You have Noah, you have Kenny, you have Courtney, you have Fred, you have you have an absurd amount of athletes that are running insanely fast. But there's a lot more variance with the 400, so I think he could be most successful there.
Yeah, I'd say when I look at the 400 meter field, there, like, any given day, like, the final could be 8 different people, like, on any given day. Like, you're like, there's just so many, like, I think back of, like, all the individuals that there are. I mean, obviously you have yourself, there's Quincy, there's the other Quincy, there's Vernon, Michael Cherry's back. I know you're gonna, like, there's tons and tons of people that are competing. There's always some college kids. We'll get into Jenoah. There's too many Noahs. Something Noahs in this sport. We gotta stop that. By the way, there's tons of y'all. And so, like, there's so many people that are champion owls. So a lot of individuals that are competing for it. So just depends on who's going to be right in that day versus, like, to crack into that top 3 for a 200. I don't know. And also, like, yeah, because with the 400, you're blessed with the fact that there's the mixed 4x4. Now, what's interesting is that now with the 100, is that going to open up because they have the mixed 4x1 that they're going to have? I don't know if that's really going to extend for the 200 meter runners, or it might a little bit more. But if you just make the final, you're an Olympian pretty much. Like, if you're if you make the 400 meter final, you're almost guaranteed to be an Olympian. There have been a few times where I think that it hasn't happened, but that's kind of where that's what you need to shoot for. So you're fighting over 8 spots rather than just 3 in the 200. So I think I agree. Like, I think I agree with you. Like, I think it's going to be too hard in that 100 meter field to crack. Now, I mean, he's immensely talented, and I think he could run, maybe a 9.9 low, 9.90, maybe something like that. But does 9.90 make an Olympic team? I mean, a slow mate, like, maybe if it's a slow, if you, like, you have to hope that everyone is on a bad day and you're on a good day, on your best day. Like, in the 200 meters, like, is he going to be able to crack that field of Kenny, Noah, Arian Knighton, with I mean, Terrence Laird will I'm sure will be back and in the mix. Like, there's so many other, like, are you going to be able to crack into that, Fred, into that field? I don't know. 800 or 400, he can crack into just get into that final. You can do that. Like, you don't have to be at your literal number one, like one of one to get into that final, where I think you have to be, and then have a little bit of help in the 1 and the 2. So, and his popularity is also insane too. Like every single time I've been at a meet, the people, like, whether he wins, loses, it doesn't matter. Like, the crowds follow Matthew Boling, like, no matter what. Like, kids love him, and like, dating back to his years in high school, like, he's been a big name. I think he's one of the few people in track too where even if he's not in that top echelon right now, not to say that he can't be, but he's not right now, like, he's still more well known than some other people that are in that echelon. So it's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I think Matt is a very, very special talent. There's not too many athletes in this sport with gifts that he possesses, with the ability to run elite 1, 2, 4, and long jump. I can count on one hand probably the amount of athletes that can do what he does right now. So it's just a tough field, man. Like, you can be as good as you want in multiple things. What do they say? Jack of all trades, master of none. So I guess I'd kind of put him in that category as far as track and field goes, and that's not even a slight. Like, he's super talented.
Yeah, it's at the point where it's like, hey, let me see, was my great grandfather from, like, Ireland or something? Let me see, like, yo, because you're too talented, like, yo, you've got the talent to be making all these teams and everything. And it stinks that the decathlon doesn't make enough money, because, like, I'd love to see him, like, if the decathlon, if, like, you were a decathlete and it made money, like, everyone's like, yo, why doesn't he do it? He doesn't do it because you don't get paid at all for that. That's why he doesn't do it. But he's that type of athlete where I'm like, damn, I would love to see you do that, because he could probably be, one of the best right now, like, in that in that upper echelon, I think, because he's just crazy talented.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I guess we're talking decathlon. We did have a multi-event person that is a star in this sport compete at the New Balance Grand Prix in the 60-meter hurdles. If we want to transition to the 60 hurdles, I love 60 hurdles.
There you go.
That is Anna Hall. I think she had her season opener.
Oh no, she was at Arkansas. She did compete. She was in the 60 hurdles.
Okay.
It's different facility. I thought you were going with Grant Holloway, who did do the multi in high school. No, okay, different one. No, but she was opened in I think she was opened in Arkansas. Okay. But yeah, we can go into that. Want to go into her performance if you saw any good stuff from her.
I mean, I was gonna kind of use that to segue into Masai getting the dub again and kind of keeping the ball rolling with her phenomenal season. I think it was a 780. Yeah, 780.
780. Yeah, but Masai looked good. Yeah, she was, like, once again, like, the 60-meter hurdles, they don't dodge smoke in the 60 in the women's hurdles. They don't dodge smoke. Like, they're always going right at it. And so there's the world record holder. No, is Tia Jones the world record holder in the 60 hurdles, or is it still Devin? Because I remember they went, like, or is it Masai? I remember there was, like, a week like this time last year when, like, Masai, Devin, Tia Jones, I think, like, they all, like, they either broke the world record from one another or they tied the world record. Like, I can't remember exactly what it is. So, but it's
Devin Charlton currently has it.
Okay. Devin does have it. Okay, so Devin does have it. So, and then Masai is, she's top 3 in I think probably all time. Just, I can't remember if she's number 2 or number 3, but she's somewhere in there. And so you don't see that as often, where you're getting 2 of the greatest people in the history of this event, like, competing against one another, like, on a consistent basis. And but she brought it home. Like, she looked good, she looked strong, and season's best. It wasn't like anything crazy times she dropped yet, but I think a good way for her to start the season for sure.
Yeah, bro. She, like I said, she's on a roll. She's keeping that ball rolling. That confidence is definitely there. I know that we've been using a word called aura a lot, but I think Masai has a lot of aura, bro. I think Masai has a lot of aura, and I don't know if that's a translatable trait to anything, but it's cool to be a fan.
Yeah. we gotta like come up, have an episode of like all right, what is the aura to performance like correlation? Be like, yeah, so if you're at least at this level, like if you're like a 7 out of 10, that means by the transitive properties, you are at least an 8 out of 10 athlete, just given on the so like we'll have to come up with whatever it might be. No, but she looks strong. She looked good. I think they're both racing again at Milrose. So that should be a good race there. So no, that was a good one. But to stick with the hurdles, where I thought you might have been going with Grant Holloway, so he extends his undefeated streak. This man has not lost a 60-meter hurdle since high school. I think it was the high school indoor nationals when he was a junior. That was the last time he lost a 60 meters in a prelim or in a final. He is just on a different level right now, where like we've never seen this. Like not even Mondo can claim that he hasn't lost a pole vaulting meet in, you know,
10 years.
yeah, a decade. Like no one in our sport, no one in any sport. I don't think there's a single person in sports today that can claim they have dominated their event the way that Grant Holloway has dominated the 60. He is on another level. He is competing against the clock. He's not going against competition anymore. And as a fan, it is just art. It's art to watch. Like he's not even it's so effortless for him, and it's become just something that you expect. It's like, there's three things that are true in this world: death, taxes, and Grant gonna win that indoor 60. Like that's what it is. So he's incredible. Like not much to say. Like it's a continuation of something that we've already known about him.
Yeah, bro, you took the words out of my mouth. Pause. Like Grant is the most dominant athlete in the sport. I mean, obviously Mondo has a case, but if you just take Mondo away and say who's the most dominant track athlete in the sport, and it's no question, it's Grant Holloway, no question at all.
It's a decade, like a decade,
Yeah,
bro. That's not, and it's not like, oh, you're only racing it like once a year, twice a year. No, he's doing this like every weekend in the 60. Like he's going up against the best people that y'all got and knocking them down. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. So
and bro, like I've never rooted against Grant like at all. But one of my best friends in the sport, Eric Edwards, shout out to Eric. He runs the 60, so it's like I'll talk to him before the race, like, yeah, bro, go kick that motherfucker today, bro. He's like, yeah, I got you. And it's like, obviously, as a competitor, he feels he can beat Grant, and he that's obviously what he's shooting for. But it's like, yeah, kind of hard to beat that one there.
yeah, because it's like there's not many people in like we haven't seen this in any sort of sport where it's just like a sure thing. And so like, yeah, I'm sure like as a pro athlete, you have to go into a race knowing that you can win. Like if you're going into a competition and thinking, yeah, like I just want this to, go well, or, oh man, this guy's already got my number, you've already lost. So like, I know you have to have that mindset, but you also have to know, like, this guy has never, like, the last time that this person lost, like Quincy Wilson was in like elementary school, like, or he was in kindergarten.
He might not have been in school yet, bro. Or maybe he might have been right in kindergarten.
He might have been in kindergarten the last time this guy didn't win a 60-meter hurdles. Like, you have to have, like, that's also got to be a weird thing as a competitor of like, but also if you do beat him, like how the amount of confidence, like let's say if Eric Edwards won that race, which like he looked fairly good over the first the first hurdle, like the first couple hurdles like of the race, and especially in the prelim. Like if you do beat Grant like in the 60, oh, you have to have the most confidence in the world for the rest of it, of like, oh, I beat the guy who hasn't lost in 10 years in this event. Oh yeah, I'm that guy now. Like it's something where you got to feel real good.
Yeah, bro. I'm making whatever shelter he had, bro. I'm letting it go, bro. If I beat Grant in 60 hurdles, I'm letting it rip.
100%. Popping bottles, you got to do it all if you can take down Grant in the 60 hurdles. sticking with the 60. So one of the main events we finally got. We had some great headliners that were here. So we've got Noah Lyles, obviously your defending 100-meter gold medalist, fastest man in the world. 2020 gold medalist in the 100 with Marcel Jacobs. You also have the one of, if not the greatest starters of all time in Trayvon Bromell, all lining up on the same track here. And very exciting race. It was actually interesting. Did you notice how they only had 5 people in this final instead of the 8?
Yeah, there was some injuries, bro. But yeah,
Like, yeah, I saw. So I saw Udodi go out, and I kind of figured something might have happened with him. Like after the race, I was sitting on the backstretch and he was kind of limping a little bit and favoring his right hamstring from what it looked like. So I was like, oh man, I hope it's nothing too crazy. He was walking on his own power. He was fine. But I guess that's probably what it was when I saw that, Marcel came in. But why are you only using 5 people, bro? Like y'all have 8 lanes. Like you're using the semis. Like you can put 3 more people in here. You ain't gotta, no one's making you not do this, but it is what it is. And then, Noah gets the win. Another big victory for him, 6:52. No, not an insane time for him or for the field, but a big win. And then, we had the, I guess, rookie this year, Terrence Jones, out of Bahamas, I believe, right? Who was in that field. So it was a good race, I think. How did you feel, watching that one?
I mean, the overwhelming thought was like Noah is getting to a point now where he's getting unbeatable in the short sprints. Like, do you remember the conversations like maybe 3 years ago that Noah Lyles is a 200 runner? He can't run 100. He can't run a 60. He can't. Now it's almost getting to a point where Trayvon can't fuck with him in the 60. Coleman, he can't fuck with him in 100. So that's kind of like the statement that I'm getting from that race is like, y'all motherfuckers might not be beating him in the 60 anymore, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm looking at it a little bit. I mean, like I remember a couple years ago, like you had mentioned, when he beat Trayvon for the first time in the 60 at this track, and he was like, "This is my track." And I remember Trayvon was like, "Nah, I ain't messing with that." And then they raced that at Millrose, and Christian Coleman got his get back. When he beat him, and he waved at the field after the race. And then they run the, I guess, 60 at Worlds, and I think Coleman won there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since that indoor Worlds, like it's been really his show. Like of all of the races that have had really any meaning, um, he's showing up like at all of these, like whether it's the 60, the 100, the 200, like he's showing up in all of these races. And so yeah, it's like he's not at the point, he's not at Grant Holloway levels where it's like a sure thing. You line up, there is no way that anyone's beating you in the 60-meter hurdles, the 60 meters. He's not there yet, and I don't think we'll ever see someone get to that level, really, where it's a decade of dominance. Like Usain Bolt didn't even have that level of dominance over the course of 100. Like, I don't think we'll get there, but like he's getting into a really scary field of just like no one, like you got to be on your best day even in the regular season to beat him. Like it's getting really hard to win. And well, shout out, I saw in our comments someone did say was talking about who was the high schooler that beat him last year. That was Asama Singa, the guy.
Asama Singa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was the guy. That was the guy. So he was the one that beat him. So like you got to be on your best day to be able to beat him now. So he's looking dangerous, bro. But outside of Oh, so were you saying something? Sorry.
Yeah. I was just gonna kind of use that to segue into Terrence Jones, and
Mhm.
I believe this would. I mean, maybe he ran at Tech in like a small meet, but for
This
this
is
to be his pro
mhm.
debut, that was a special run for him. So I'm really happy for him. I'm excited to see what we'll get from him. I would assume he'll be on the Bahamas team or Bahamian team, however that would properly come out. But on that team for the World Indoor Championship. So I'm looking forward to seeing him compete the rest of this season. That was a really good opener.
Yeah, no, he looked good, and like it was especially impressive for him in the 60 because people typically would think in the 60 that it's a shorter man's like race, and he's a tall dude. Like he's probably what 6'3", maybe something like
Six
that.
three,
Like
6'4", yeah.
yeah, 6'3", 6'4". Like there's a reason why we didn't see Usain Bolt do 60s, man. Like that dude's like 6'5". Like you don't see a lot of tall people do it. I mean, Noah's probably what, maybe 6 foot tall,
No, it's like 5'10",
5'11",
bro.
5'10". Okay,
Yeah.
maybe it was a little shorter than I thought. 5'10", 5, whatever it is. And so you don't see a ton. Maybe Marcel was one of the taller people in the field, but for him to be putting on be this strong in this event, yeah, and like you said, his debut with Adidas, I think he's an Adidas guy too, right?
Mhm.
Strong performance from him, and so on the other side of things, we saw wasn't the best of races for Trayvon Brumell and Marcel Jacobs, unfortunately. It looked like with Trayvon, he kind of pulled back a little bit towards the end when he had saw that, hey, the race wasn't quite going, his way. It seemed like, so I think he's definitely can run faster than 6'6". So I'm not nervous about him at all from that perspective. But yeah, I think I think I learned a lot more about this year for Noah. Like he wins. Like it doesn't matter the time. He just finds a way to win. And that's what it takes to be an athlete, man. You got to win.
Yeah, bro's a competitor.
Oh, you muted. You're muted by yourself by accident. Can you hear me?
About that, dog. But Noah's just an ultimate competitor, man. Like we see it time and time and time after again. Like he's just tough to beat, man. You could get out on him, it really doesn't matter. Dude's gonna hold composure and turn it on when it's time for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Look good overall. Good meet. I enjoyed watching that from everybody. Packed out crowd in New Balance. They know how to sell out a facility, and so excellent performances from people that showed up too. So it was a great competition. So looking forward to seeing how it all turns out next year. So should be some good stuff. Then just got some quick things for a little bit of college athletes, and we got a new segment we'll be having with Noah here. We'll wrap our things up, but Florida continuing to have some dominant performances. So Jenoah Mckiver, who's got the world record in the 600-yard dash, the classic track and field event. He finally goes into he does his 400, runs a collegiate lead of 45:19, indoor 400. Looking good. I mean, I think that men's team in Florida is really now. We saw a couple performances now, and on the women's side, they've got a couple other good ones as well. But he's looking that 45:19 is no joke, man. I mean, I think that's that's legit. To dip that low this early.
Yeah, bro. Hey, he's been a special talent for years, dating back to his time at Iowa. Obviously the 600-yard world best, world record, whatever you want to call it, was special. And leading into this, I didn't look at the meet, like the entry form beforehand, so it was a surprise to me when I saw that. But man, that was a great performance by him. Shout out to him, man. Shout out to Jenoah Mckiver.
There you go. Have you ever raced any? What's the weirdest distance that you raced, like non-track tradition? Have you ever had anything strange like that?
No, I've only ever ran like 1, 2, 4, 8. I mean, in high school in New York State, we run the 55 instead of the 60.
Okay.
So probably the 55. State champ, by the way. But yeah, yeah, probably the 55.
Yeah, no, just quick shout out, state champ. All right, there you
Yeah,
go.
I think
Good.
number 11 US all time or 10. I don't know that stuff.
Something like that. Something like that. You're gonna get you gonna get inducted into your high school Hall of Fame at some
Bro,
point?
I don't know why I haven't already, for real. Like, they be having me come back and do stuff. Shout out to McQuaid Jesuit High School, bro. Yeah, y'all know I got love for y'all, but man, they need to go ahead and put me in the Hall of Fame already, bro. I be doing like the homecoming, like the coin flip and stuff like that. They got like murals and stuff, which is cool, bro. But I need to go ahead and put me in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, maybe they have to like wait a decade or maybe they gotta wait some amount of years or something, but they gotta put Noah into that Hall of Fame, man.
Put me in there, y'all. Come on. Hey, are you in the Hall of Fame at your high school?
Bro, I ain't that good. I ain't that good. No, I folded at big meets. I was not as good as that. Now I'm second all time in the pole vault in my school. I would be the school record holder at literally any other high school almost, but I just so happened to go to the place where the state record holder went to my high school. So that kind of sucked. So I won that. I won conferences probably six times, and I was undefeated in every event in every dual meet in my senior year in every event that I ran. So the 1, the 2, the triple, the long, the pole vault. I was undefeated in all of that.
Damn, Colin, let me find out, bro. Let me find out, bro. That's tough.
Yeah, so did well. Like I did well at the smaller levels, but then once I got to states, I didn't perform how I should have performed. So I probably don't think I'm gonna get into any Hall of Fame unless I do something cool. And also, like Allie Wilson, who is an Olympian, went to my high school. She's 1 year older than me, and yeah, I think she's going to get into the Hall of Fame before I do. If I just had to guess, getting into the Olympics is kind of a big deal. So who knows? But probably not. So, but yeah, so great. Interesting 60s or interesting races for him, Jenoah Mckiver, 45-19. I know Ahmad Robinson had a pretty good opening 400 meter as well. So it looks like that 400 is going to be one of the biggest races to watch this year. So I'm excited for that.
Absolutely, bro. We got a good field this year for the men.
Then want to get in do the Grand Slam first, or do you want to do your athlete?
Yeah, let's do some Grand Slam. Let's talk about Grand Slam a little bit.
Grand Slam. So they just announced today their streaming partner. They're going to be streaming on NBC Sports, Peacock, the CW in the United States for their four meets. So this is kind of for NBC. Essentially, it's replacing the Diamond League, because the Diamond League used to have their streaming rights, and then as of recently, they no longer have them. So now FlowTrack is hosting the Diamond League, and so this is kind of replacing that for them. And it seemed to have gotten some good praise, some good publicity. I know from an accessibility standpoint, I mean, being on TV, you'll be able to watch it for free for the most part, or at the very worst, if you have Peacock's like $6 instead of FlowTrack streaming site. It's like $29 a month. So it's a significant, increase for some people that may not be ready, willing, or able to purchase something like that. So I'm excited for them to get this through. I was seeing some rumors swirling around of where they were going to go. I'm glad that those rumors aren't necessarily true. So I think this is a good thing for them. The NBC puts on a good performance. I think like ESPN would have been great. I like the way that they put on the NCAA championship. But overall, I think this is a win, a W for Grand Slam, that they didn't go, a variety of ways that would have made it inaccessible for a lot of people, or just not quite as good. So you're muted, by the way. Can you hear me?
All right, we back good?
Yeah, we back. Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, first and foremost, bro, shout out to Michael Johnson. for making this happen. And I think NBC is the perfect network. Obviously, like you said, we would have liked ESPN, but just grateful that we got it for an NBC service, Peacock service, one of my 5 stream services, which is good. And just glad it's not on Tubi or anything like that, bro. You know?
Tubi. Yeah, that would have been crazy. Maybe the Hallmark Channel, something like that. Would just make it difficult.
Yeah,
No, so that it's a win, I think, for them. And yeah, they were saying that they wanted to make it as accessible as possible for people to be able to watch, and I think that they're going to be able to do that with this now. So the first one is in April in Jamaica, and then I think the second one in Philly at the end of April. So should be exciting, but looking forward to seeing what they've got coming up. They have their 48 challengers that they're going to be announcing later on throughout the season. So we'll see what who those people are going to be. They're allegedly going to announce the first one soon, but we'll see when that happens. So good stuff from Grand Slam. Would love to see how that continues. All right. So Noah, you have this new segment for us. You want to kind of roll it out? What do we got going on?
Yeah, man. New segment alert. You feel me? It's a lot of great performances that go on every weekend all over the world. Men, women, boy, girl, all together. But it can only be one athlete of the week, right? So that's gonna be our new thing. We're gonna get an athlete of the week. And the very first athlete of the week, Noah's athlete of the week, is Quincy Wilson, the high schooler out of Bullis, the champion at New Balance Grand Prix in the 400 meters. He ran 45.66. We spoke about it earlier, man. A super tactical race, a super competitive race where he showed fitness, he showed talent, he showed star power, and he's almost like America's sweetheart right now. That's kind of the way it feels, like public perception wise. So shout out to Quincy. You are the very first Noah Williams' athlete of the week. Shout out to you. We'll get that trophy in the mail, send it to Bullis High School. And hey, man, keep up the legendary performances, dog. I'm proud of you.
There you go. Congratulations, Noah. Congratulations, Quincy, on being the first ever Noah's athlete of the week. We'll have to come up with some name, like how like they have like Steven's A list and all that stuff. We'll have to come up with some funky name for this by next week for what it'll be. But congratulations, first Noah Williams athlete of the week to Mr. Quincy Wilson. So big time. Next week it should be good. We got a Milrose, so another good one that's high school, college, pro. Everyone does that. I'm sure there'll be some other races that we'll see in the college circuit. So it should be another great weekend coming back next week for some track and field stuff. That'll do it for us here with Track World News Podcast. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Have a good one, and peace.
Peace.